New at noon, the parking lot will stay empty by the Fargo Dome for the start of Bison football season. The team announced new rules this morning with restrictions for fans. NDSU will limit seating to 50% capacity, up to 9,500 people for the first home game on Sunday, February 21st against Youngstown State. Tailgating is also canceled, and people with paid tailgating passes for the 2021 season will be credited. To read more on the changes at Bison games this year, just head to our website. That's valleynewslive.com. We have new information on that standoff in Moorhead that shut down part of the city. Authorities now say it all started with a stolen car chase. A Minnesota State Patrol officer says earlier this morning they tried to pull over a speeding vehicle in the southern part of the city just after midnight, but it took off. The car eventually spun out on 34th Street South, and the two people inside ran to a nearby apartment building. Authorities tried to get them to outside, but they wouldn't. Officers later went into the apartment and arrested the two suspects, as well as the person whose apartment they were hiding in. Stay with Valley News Live as we continue to learn new information on this case. Taking that live look outside right now, gray skies. That sun just doesn't want to come and see us right now, it seems anyway. We get a check of what we can expect for the rest of our day with First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Summer Schnellbach.
Got me thinking about that song, Mr. Sun, Won't You Come Out? It doesn't look like it's coming out today. We've been under fairly overcast skies for the entirety of our morning so far, and some locations have still been dealing with that pesky fog that doesn't want to leave today either. Visibility is down to half a mile in Jamestown at this hour, 1 mile down in Oaks, 1.5 miles up in Langdon, just over 1.5 miles in Devil's Lake, but it has greatly improved across areas of central North Dakota, so hopefully that indicates better news on the way, but I do think the fog will stick around for at least a couple more hours. On satellite and radar this afternoon, you can see those clouds encompassing the majority of our area. Just a few pockets of clearing from time to time. Temperatures are on the mild side on our Monday afternoon. 23 degrees right now in Fargo, 24 in Grand Forks, 21 in Fergus Falls, 18 in both Bemidji and Devil's Lake. But Jordan, we have much colder air on the way. Enjoy these teens and 20s while we still can. I'll have details a little later on.
All right, will do. Thank you, Summer. After President Joe Biden revoked Keystone XL's presidential permit, opponents of other pipelines are hoping the projects that they have been fighting for will be next. Environmentalists and American Indian tribes called on Biden to stop Enbridge Energy's Line 3 replacement in Minnesota. Opponents of the Dakota Access Pipeline that originates in North Dakota also appealed to the administration. Industry experts say they don't expect any quick action like the order that stopped Keystone XL, but other pipelines will likely see tougher scrutiny and permitting processes than they saw under former President Donald Trump. A North Dakota bill that would have required clergy members to report child abuse has now been withdrawn. State law requires those working in many occupations like childcare and healthcare to report evidence of child abuse, but clergy members are exempt when it is revealed in the confessional. West Fargo Republican Senator Judy Lee withdrew the legislation on Friday, saying it has become a distraction. The Roman Catholic Diocese in Fargo and Bismarck opposed that bill. 32 U.S. states have now detected COVID-19 variants first found in the UK, Brazil, and South Africa. That's putting even more pressure on hospitals and on the vaccination effort. David Begnaud is in Los Angeles, where the average daily death rate among Latinos has soared to more than 1,000% from where it was in November.
Can we do a quick huddle?
Wesley Willard manages the ICU here at Adventist Health White Memorial. This is one of LA's hardest hit hospitals.
The most difficult thing is knowing that we're caring for a patient that may not make it.
On his staff of more than 120, his first lieutenant, Lana Bagwell.
The strength that these nurses and these healthcare professionals have to do this day in and day out is amazing to me.
She is one of the roughly 20 medical personnel sent by the U.S. Department of Defense. She has been on the front line right here for 3 weeks.
I felt tremendous pressure to come in, learn everything I could, and really integrate myself and become part of the team.
Adventist Health sits right in the middle of Boyle Heights, one of the hardest hit neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Willard says socioeconomic conditions play a role in this. About a third of all the families living here make less than $25,000 a year.
They have multiple families living in one home. They're not able to socially distance. Some of the stories that I've read, backgrounds of the patients, they're the sole breadwinners and they still had to go to work.
This is, in many ways, ground zero.
Absolutely.
Willard himself is a West Point graduate, a former Army captain. He served active duty for 5 years, including one tour in Iraq.
Given what you've seen in a war zone, how does this compare?
I think there's a lot of similarities in the ability of our nurses to pull together, have that teamwork mentality, just like my soldiers did.
Next week, the hospital is actually going to go into the neighborhoods. They know a lot of the people who live around here may not have internet access, may not speak English, may not know where to go to get a vaccine. So they're going to bring it to them, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, and say, "We've got it. Are you willing to receive it?" David Begnaud, CBS News, Los Angeles.
In New York City, 24% of the population is black and 30% Latino, but those groups account for just 11% and 15% of those vaccinated. In New Jersey, the vaccination percentages are even lower. A new study suggests that pregnant women do pass COVID antibodies to their babies, potentially protecting them from infection. Researchers from Children's Hospital of Philadelphia looked at 83 women who tested positive for antibodies at the time of delivery. 72 of the babies also had antibodies detected in their cord blood, regardless of whether their mother had any symptoms. Most had similar levels of antibodies as found in their mother's blood. However, women infected earlier in their pregnancies transferred more antibodies to their baby. The CDC believes COVID vaccines are safe for pregnant women. If you're looking to stay on top of the latest vaccine information, get our new VNL vaccine tracker. You can access national and local resources in just 2 easy steps. Just open your phone camera, point it at the QR code on your screen right now, then tap the link that's going to pop up. 2 astronauts, they conducted a spacewalk today outside the International Space Station. Astronauts Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover Jr. are finishing battery upgrades and installing high-definition cameras outside the space station. Their work is expected to last 6.5 hours. This is the 4th spacewalk for Hopkins. He previously completed 2 spacewalks during his first 6-month stay on the International Space Station from September 2013 to March of 2014. For Glover, it's only his 2nd time venturing out of the space station after last Wednesday's spacewalk. Gray Television is in the process of purchasing Quincy Media at the price tag of $925 million and will now own stations that serve 102 different TV markets. With that purchase, Gray Television will own KBJR out of Duluth, Minnesota, and KTTC in Rochester, Minnesota. The purchase of the company was approved unanimously by the board of directors of both Gray and Quincy. Gray Television is the parent company of Valley News Live. Coming up here at noon, we find out why health experts are now focusing more on protecting children from catching the coronavirus. But next, can we expect to see the sun today? Summer Schnellbach is in with a check of that Monday forecast.